morning, everyone, and welcome to Tapping Into Gratitude. I'm Victoria Iden.
And I'm Iden Tully.
And we're just here this morning to chat with you about how to create and cultivate a gratitude practice. So grab yourself a cup of coffee, maybe a cup of tea. I've got mine here, and actually it turned out absolutely perfect because this little brand always has a quote on the side, and it says, "Give happiness and you will end up happy." So that just really lends itself to the topic of gratitude. So first off, when I say the word gratitude, what does that make you think of?
First, I guess it makes me think of just being thankful, being trying to be happy in your life with what you have, not striving for what you want or don't have, thinking that way. Being grateful is more, having gratitude is more just being happy with, I shouldn't say just, being happy with what you have, finding those little things in your day, in your life that you are grateful for.
That's perfect, because one of my favorite quotes, I might not say this perfectly, is gratitude is taking what you have and turning it into enough.
Yeah.
And I think that in our lives, we get so caught up in all the external things that are happening. I know for us, a big portion of our life was acquiring things and using things and stuff in our life to give us, status, or not necessarily status, but I think we thought that the more we had, the happier we would be.
Yeah.
And we really found out that that wasn't true, because we were doing really well in our lives. We had a lot of stuff, and there was still a part of us that wasn't quite happy. Now, I know for myself, I've been working on a gratitude practice for, we were trying to think of it earlier before we started, I think about 8 years. 8 years ago was a real pivotal moment for myself. And that's when I started working on a gratitude practice. And it was really raw. It was a friend of mine that suggested that I start this gratitude practice. And I started off by just writing down 3 things that I'm grateful for each day. And maybe you've heard of that. Maybe that's something you do. And I know that it was really hard for me, especially at first. I felt like I was lying to myself. I felt like I was just writing and pulling stuff out of the air just to write it down so I could complete this gratitude practice. But what I can say about that is when you stick to it, that eventually it turns into more than that. Eventually you start... It was at this point where I was like, I'm not grateful for anything else. I've written everything down that I'm grateful for. But I was like talking about all the things that happen in the world, like the sun, I'm grateful for sand, I don't know, whatever. I'm grateful for all these really random things. And it was when I started to dive deeper. And I actually turned my gratitude practice to write down 3 things that I was grateful for, but it was way more specific. I was grateful for I said thank you to myself for something I did each day. The second thing is something I was grateful for in my, in my life that day. So something very small. And it might have been like my cat sat beside me for 5 minutes and let me pet him. And then to help cultivate better connection in our relationship, I wrote down 1 thing I was grateful for Iden in my life. I don't even know if I've ever shared that with you, I did that in my gratitude practice. And that's where it started to change. And then it stopped being me just writing down these 1-word answers into more journaling about, my day and things that made me happy. And, sometimes there would be things that I would realize that weren't my favorite part of the day, but all of a sudden it always came out with this positive spin. So maybe, I had an altercation with someone and it made me upset. However, in the end, I was writing about how it turned out in a good way. So that really is how my gratitude practice started. And I know Iden has a totally different journey, so I've been talking a lot.
She always does.
But I think it's important to hear different people and to understand that we're all on a different part. And I don't know if I should just say that, Iden, or if you're ready to chat.
Sure, no. I'm definitely, I don't know if it's, you want to say further behind, or I guess at a different part in my journey, or a different place in my journey, and maybe closer to where some of you are. And that's not a bad thing. It's, I'm at the point that I still struggle at times to be consistent with some sort of gratitude journal or some sort of gratitude practice. I know we were discussing earlier that it's tough. It's really tough. You get caught up in your day to day, and I got to be here, I got to be there, I got to do this, I got to do that. And I don't take enough time sometimes to really focus on being grateful and knowing that we live in a beautiful place, a wonderful country. We're alive, we're healthy, we're prosperous, whatever you want to be grateful for. So yeah, I think consistency is key. I think that's where I'm still learning to be more consistent, and definitely look for those things. It can be small, it can be big. I think just do it is the biggest thing. Some of the stuff I've been reading and sort of thinking about is a lot of it is kind of do it. Don't talk about it. Literally do it. Sit down, write down those 3 things you're grateful for. Meditate. Meditation helps. I like to meditate first thing in the morning. That kind of helps you get set on a good note for your day. And then a reflection at the end of the day as well, if you can. So even, I mean, you can do a gratitude practice at the end of your day before you go to bed is another good option, right?
Yeah.
Maybe write down something you're grateful for that happened. You can do it, if you're doing it in the morning, it can be more what you're grateful for, maybe in the day before or going forward, and then at the end of the day, maybe might more like a summary. So
I think that just not being so hard on yourself about it too. I know that I used to get stuck on that a lot. I find I don't as much anymore. I know when Iden and I talk about it, he still gets quite caught up on like, well, I didn't do it today. And then you get like, well, if I didn't do it today, then what's the point? There is a point, because eventually it becomes just part of you. And so maybe there's lots of days that I don't physically write down the things that I'm grateful for, but I reflect during my meditation, during my yoga practices. I take the time to do that, and I feel like it builds into just this positive mindset where you notice that you are more appreciative and thankful to other people, other humans that you interact with, whether they're close to you or not. But I think that connection that you get with yourself really radiates towards other people, especially the people that you're close with. Because let's be honest, we can all be very cordial to strangers, people we don't know. It's easier, right? Because you're never going to see them again, and so we do that. Oh yeah, hey, how are you? Oh, we're good. Nice seeing you. Chat, whatever it is. But it's the people that you're really close with that we want to learn first with yourself, and then those how to cultivate this really appreciative experience and connection, so that everything that you do with each other turns into a really good experience. And not saying that that's easy, and not saying that you're going to have days that it's just feels like it's so overwhelming and maybe you could care less about that, because emotions can run high. But that's what we are here doing this weekend, is we are taking the time to tap into gratitude. So wherever you are in your journey, wherever you are in your stage at this time, is just slowing down, knowing it's okay to slow down, and that to take care of yourself is the most important thing. Even though I know money's important, our jobs, commitments, all those things, yes, absolutely, so important in our life. But if you are not happy within, then what's the point? What's the purpose of all of this? I call it the hamster wheel, running around. So I want to thank all of you for taking the time to tap into gratitude this weekend. Your day will be set up with so many amazing classes. Right after this, you can energize your morning with a flow with me, get that body moving, get those endorphins going. Later on this afternoon, we'll talk a little bit more about wellness with an online essential oils class that can help you take your yoga practice just to a different level if you don't use that already. A little bit of education with that, and then ending off the evening with a loving kindness practice. One of my most favorite restorative types of practice is really meditating and tapping into loving kindness. And then we will drift off with gratitude tonight with a journaling and meditation session. So before you move on with your day today, I want you to grab that journal, grab that pen, and try to write down 3 things. If you can't think of 3 things, don't beat yourself up. Just write down what you can. You can come back to it later. There's no timeline. Leave that journal out and maybe find someone that you can talk to about creating a gratitude practice that you can support each other with. Because the thing is, even though we want to take care of ourselves, we're not in this alone. We need to help each other out. I need to remember that with my own partner because we are on different parts in our journey that, you know, if you have questions, you need to reach out. And I know either one of us would be really happy to help any of you that have questions. And we can, all we can do is give you what we've done, what's worked for us, and help you along the way. So let's tap into gratitude all weekend. I hope you enjoy the retreat online. And yeah, I love you all. And I want you just to have a fabulous couple of days and end off this week with tapping into gratitude and start your week off on a really good foot. So thank you for joining us and
enjoy your weekend.
Bye.